What is Hamas and why is it significant? To answer these questions, we must go back to its formation in 1987. In the late 80s, a new player entered the complex tapestry of Middle Eastern politics. This group was Hamas, a Palestinian nationalist and Islamist movement. It sprang up in stark opposition to the secular approach of the Palestine Liberation Organization, or the PLO. Unlike the PLO, Hamas sought to establish an independent Islamic state in historical Palestine, and it used very different methods to achieve its goals. In the beginning, Hamas was not the organization we know today. It was less a militia and more a social movement that operated largely through charities and schools. These efforts were aimed at winning hearts and minds, promoting their vision of an Islamic state, and creating a sense of community among Palestinians. Its influence grew steadily, its message resonating with many who felt disillusioned with the secular politics of the PLO. Hamas started as a peaceful social and political movement, but soon it shifted its tactics. These tactics would not only redefine the organization itself, but also significantly impact the course of Middle Eastern politics. Scene script: Hamas, initially peaceful, soon called for jihad against Israel. The tranquility of their inception began to crack, revealing a more aggressive side. They had started by providing education and charity, but as the years passed, they found themselves embracing a path of violence. Their goal remained the same. They wanted to establish an independent Islamic state in historical Palestine, but their methods had shifted drastically. The peaceful approach was abandoned, replaced by violent acts that sent shockwaves around the world. They resorted to terrorism, a tactic that was as effective as it was controversial. Their attacks were not random, but targeted, aimed at Israeli objectives. These acts were not just a show of force, but a cry for recognition, a demand for their vision of an independent Islamic state to be taken seriously. The world, however, responded with condemnation. The United States and the European Union didn't see a group fighting for independence. They saw a terrorist organization, one that used violence and fear to achieve its goals. Thus, they designated Hamas as such, a label that would come to define the group in the eyes of many. This turn to violence wasn't without its consequences. Internally, it led to clashes with other Palestinian organizations, deepening the divide among those who shared the same goal but disagreed on the means to achieve it. Externally, it strained their relations with Syria and Iran, their primary sources of support, further isolating the group. Despite these challenges, Hamas persevered, driven by their unwavering belief in their cause. They continued their violent attacks, each one a statement, a declaration of their determination to establish an independent Islamic state. The turn to violence marked a significant shift in Hamas's approach, leading to its international recognition as a terrorist organization. This label, however controversial, has become a part of Hamas's identity, a testament to the lengths they were willing to go to achieve their goal. Hamas's engagement in politics has been as turbulent as its militant activities. In the year 2006, a significant shift took place in the political landscape of Palestine. Hamas, once primarily known for its militant activities, had decided to venture into the realm of politics. Against all odds, they emerged victorious in the Palestinian legislative elections, signaling a new era in their history. Their victory was not without controversy, however. In a surprising turn of events, they formed a coalition government with Fatah, a rival Palestinian political faction. This coalition, however, was not destined to last. Differences in ideologies and power struggles led to violent clashes between the two groups. The tension escalated to such a point that it resulted in a split, with Hamas seizing control of the Gaza Strip. But the political journey of Hamas was far from smooth. Their transition from a militant organization to a political entity was fraught with difficulties. One of the most significant challenges they faced was the strain in their relations with Syria and Iran. These two nations had been primary sources of support for Hamas, but political differences led to a cooling of ties. Another substantial hurdle was the financial strain due to the cutoff of aid. As a designated terrorist organization by the United States and the European Union, Hamas found itself increasingly isolated on the international stage. The financial aid that once flowed into their coffers began to dwindle, pushing them into a state of economic hardship. Yet, in spite of these challenges, Hamas has managed to retain its political foothold in the Gaza Strip. Their ability to adapt and evolve has been a testament to their resilience in the face of adversity. Despite its political successes, Hamas's relations with other groups and nations have remained strained. In the face of adversity, Hamas has evolved and moderated its views towards the peace process. The political landscape of the Middle East is an ever-shifting one, and Hamas, like any other player in this arena, has had to adapt to survive. The organization has undergone significant reorganization, reshaping its strategies and ideologies in response to the prevailing circumstances. In the past, Hamas was unyielding in its call for an independent Islamic state in historical Palestine. Today, while it still holds on to this vision, it has softened its approach and adopted a more pragmatic outlook. This change is particularly evident in its stance towards the peace process. Once an ardent opponent of any form of negotiation, Hamas has since moderated its views. It has shown a willingness to engage in dialogue and negotiations, albeit with certain conditions. However, this shift in perspective does not mean that Hamas has abandoned its foundational beliefs. The organization continues to reject the legitimacy of Israel, a stance that remains at the core of its ideological framework. This enduring refusal to recognize Israel not only defines Hamas's identity, but also shapes its role within the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Today, Hamas finds itself in a unique position. It has the responsibility of governing the Gaza Strip, a role it assumed after a power struggle with Fatah. This has necessitated a degree of pragmatism and diplomacy, even as it continues to grapple with its ideological commitments and the realities on the ground. The organization has had to balance its political role with its commitment to the Palestinian cause, a balancing act that is as delicate as it is complex. Hamas's relations with its primary sources of support, Syria and Iran, have also been strained, adding another layer of complexity to the organization's current status. The cutoff of aid has led to financial strain, further complicating its ability to navigate the turbulent waters of Middle Eastern politics. While Hamas has shown some willingness to change, its rejection of Israel's legitimacy continues to be a significant obstacle to peace. The road to peace is long and fraught with challenges. For Hamas, the journey has only just begun, and the path it chooses to follow will undoubtedly have far-reaching implications for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. From its formation to the present day, Hamas has played a significant role in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Its birth marked a shift in the struggle for Palestinian autonomy, with a turn to violence challenging the status quo. The political struggles within and against Hamas have molded its trajectory, leading to the modern Hamas we know today, a group that, while moderated, still fundamentally challenges Israel's legitimacy. Understanding Hamas is key to understanding the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a conflict that continues to shape the geopolitics of the Middle East.